Hey, how to sing blue way. Shot glass in your hand.
From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas. It's Texas Football Today, a show ostensibly about football.
Allegedly.
My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, texasfootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live at texasfootball.com or on Facebook, or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. Sitting over there at the helm today, it's the Duchess of the Dorks. It's Ashley Pickle. Hello, Ashley.
Howdy.
Special day today.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited, too.
Should we show them why?
Yeah, sure. If you were in for the pre-show,
Woo!
then you know we're joined today. Very special. That's right. Frogs up. Frogs up? No, whatever. It's Travis Heim of Heim BBQ over there in Fort Worth and soon to be Dallas.
Yeah, very
You
soon.
are. It's Metroplex takeover.
Yeah, I guess.
It really is.
Right.
Travis Heim is here from Heim BBQ. Before we get to that, do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Rob Hadaway, Daniel Agnew, Josh Chappa, and Ed McElroy. Welcome in, guys.
Today is Tuesday, February 25th, 2020. 275 days until Thanksgiving, episode 910. 910, the number of games Hank Blaylock played in his illustrious Texas Rangers career. There is a vicious rumor
Hank.
that I named my kid after Hank Blaylock.
It's true.
And I am,
The rumor's
I
true.
am not going to answer those rumors.
The rumor's true.
I will not confirm nor deny.
He's a beautiful swing.
Didn't it?
You know, he's from Canada. Is that right?
California.
California.
He's
Canada.
from.
My father-in-law always thought he was from Lufkin, and this big Lufkin guy. And I was like, you're thinking of Chris Davis?
Chris Davis.
Yeah.
Chris Davis from East Texas.
Yeah.
No, Hank Blaylock, I want to say he's from California, but yeah, it's same. I have a thing.
Obscure,
I have a
yeah.
type. I have a type,
Okay.
which is big,
Where are we
hard
going
swinging,
into this?
Country.
No.
country
Yeah,
strong
okay.
third baseman.
Yeah.
Like I've just that's
Shut it down.
that's my thing. I have a
Lefties.
type.
Yeah.
That's that Hank Blaylock. Well, and especially
Oh,
you go back to
man.
that. Not to
The
go back to
nonsense.
Go back to that 03 All-Star game. He hit that home run off of Eric Gagne, who was untouchable at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
and
yeah.
like that was a seminal moment in
Yeah.
my baseball livelihood.
Also, that's our quote of the day. I hope you know that we're not.
Is that I have a type and it's Hank Blaylock.
Yeah.
There you
big
go. I
swinging.
can sum it up for you right there.
Yeah.
I have a type and it's Hank Blaylock. It's Travis Heim of Heim BBQ. You guys have a website, right?
Yes. HeimBBQ.com.
HEIM.
Yeah, I should spell that.
We should.
just
Yeah.
always.
Like
Yeah,
I know it because I'm just a big fan of your work.
thank you.
And I am. I'm a big fan of your work, and I think I'm not alone. So, for those who don't know your story, like, you have a weird roundabout way to becoming one of the more notable barbecue pitmasters in Texas. Can you give people
It's probably accurate.
a version, at least your version of how all this came to be?
Yeah, where to begin? I started the first brisket I ever cooked. I was 12, and my mother still, up until like a year ago, my mom said that was the best brisket I ever cooked. I think just to annoy me, you know.
Like you haven't gotten any better
I
since
know,
you were
no,
12.
Yeah, that means a lot. You know, but, that it was on my granddad's old smoker, and he would cook, you know, for family events and stuff all the time. And so I think I got into barbecue growing up in Fort Worth, going to Angelo's, Railhead, those, you know, old school places. But then really it was just trying to like emulate him, and you know, it's like, oh, this is cool. He does ribs, you know, so I want to do that. And just kind of built from there. And then, you know, in high school it was the same thing. And my mom had a catering business, you know, that I helped out and would do all the grilling and smoking and stuff with that. And even I forget, this seems like so long ago. Then in college we would save up, you know, I went to school in East Texas, UT Tyler, and we'd save up money for a 30-pack of beer and like a couple racks of ribs, you know, on the weekend, and just kind of did that more. And then once my wife and I got married, will be 9 years this June. My in-laws got me the first like real smoker I ever had, and so just started cooking for fun, and then it kind of slowly or quickly turned into an obsession of sorts, you know, and got more interested in just the process and specifically, briskets and how hard it is to cook brisket and all that. And so we got a smoker from my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
I always say was a really talented welder, but he was a better beer drinker, right? In Marshall, Texas.
Can relate.
Yeah. Yeah. Marshall, where my dad's from, home of Y.A. Tittle.
Yeah. Go Mavericks.
Yeah, Hall of Famer. And so he would build these old smokers, and he had one lying around, and for like 6 months I tried to get a hold of him, and it was just he's a Vietnam guy, and so hard to get in touch with. And I finally got him on the phone and was like, I have $300 to my name. Me and Emma were broke, and is there any way I could buy this smoker from you so I could, cook more, that type of thing? And he just said, come and get it. So we had a 99 Honda Civic, so I had to
Strap it on the top.
I had to rent
Awesome.
a U-Haul truck and trailer, and then my dad met us down there, and we somehow drug it out of the mud and got it back to Arlington and at my brother-in-law's house, and then realized this is, it was a 500-gallon propane tank, so it's on a 14-foot trailer. We're talking about massive smoker, and it was like, this is way too big just to cook for family and friends. So we started doing pop-ups, and we called it Meat Club. It was T&E Meat Club, and kind of like
Travis
Fight
and
Club,
Emma. Yeah.
type thing, and really stupid, and people just, cold beer, music, and then that kind of snowballed, and through that I met some guys in Austin that I was fortunate enough to cook with and kind of learn the restaurant side of things. And then at one point I got laid off from my job in oil and gas, and we just started selling barbecue out of our Honda Civic in the Swiss pastry shop parking lot.
That is
and it was
awesome.
super illegal. Yeah, it's like not up to code or whatever, but we did that for a little bit and kind of built a following. And then from our Meat Club pop-ups too, we had some people. And then I found the food truck for lease next to a crappy bar in Fort Worth, and was like basically spent all of the money we had to open for the deposit and stuff, and pulled my Uncle Roger's smoker up and opened up. So the first day we opened, we literally had like $100 in our bank account.
Jeez.
So it was crazy. So it worked out.
So obviously you had a partner in this, and the actual brains behind the operation is your wife, Emma.
Yeah, I'm the beauty, but
Yeah,
she's
I
the
can.
brains,
Yeah. Sorry, buddy. You're probably in second place for both.
Yeah.
So, was there ever a point, because that's a lot of risk.
Oh yeah.
It's risky to open any restaurant, let alone when you have $100 in your bank account. Was there ever was she just like, let's go, on board with it the whole time?
Yeah, for the most part, I mean, this is before too, like barbecue's whatever glamorous now. It's like
You don't wanna talk about
Instagram and like whatever. Everybody's like doing photo shoots, and this was not the case, 7-8 years ago. And so I was like always just, probably just annoying. Like it was all I would think about is like, I want to open a barbecue place. I want to do something. And so I told you I worked at Joe T. Garcia's famous Mexican place that I love in Fort Worth for a while. And I still have friends from there that were like, man, I remember you waiting tables talking about opening a barbecue place. It's just annoying to everyone, I'm sure. So when I took this oil and gas job, it was great. But once our project was over, then I got laid off. And at that point, it was like I went and interviewed at some places in Austin. And a really good friend of mine was like, I would have done anything to work for it, basically. And he was like, you shouldn't work for me. You should go to Fort Worth and do your own thing. Because if you come here, it's just going to be 5 years of cooking ribs. And to me, that was like devastating. But it was kind of the last, kick in the pants I needed. And so, yeah, it was, my wife's always been incredibly supportive. And she's, the brains, like you said, behind the operation. So
Well, but it helps that the barbecue's pretty good, right?
yeah, that helps.
And you mentioned, for those who don't know, Heim BBQ, 2 locations now in Fort Worth. You got one in the River District, one on Fairmont, and then and then you guys are opening one in Dallas here pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely. We have on Magnolia
Mhm.
Avenue, River District, and then we have our food truck, Meat Force One, that we take.
That is so good.
we take all over, everywhere, all over the Metroplex. It's got the big presidential seal, Meat Force One. And then we just recently worked out a deal on Mockingbird in Dallas.
Man.
And so it's like literally right in front of Love Field. A
Good,
really,
because
really cool
my
space.
my in-laws fly Southwest all the time,
Awesome.
so I will make sure I'm like, no, I'll go pick them up. No, I'm good. I can go pick them up and then drop them off and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that fun stuff. They're done Ubering now.
Come see us.
Yeah, so I would say that I think everything you make is great there,
Thank you.
but
I like coming here. I need to come here
is it
more
Yeah.
fair to say well, just come here and kiss your butt all the time? Is it fair to say that like the bacon burn-ins, the pork belly burn-ins are what put you on the map?
Yeah, I'd say so. And that was something that when we were doing our meat clubs, I did one, and it was, we'd kind of course it 4 or 5 courses, and obnoxiously I was like, we're putting bacon in everything. So like the dessert's gonna have bacon,
My guy.
the sides are gonna have bacon.
My guy.
And so I made our own bacon, basically the slab bacon, and then and this was like 03 or not 03, 2013. And that was the first iteration of the bacon burn-ins, was when I basically just took that slab and then kind of cut it up. And that was the first course of the meal, and that was all anyone ate. Like, they just ate all that. We had all this food left over. So even at that point, even then it was like we're never going to open a restaurant, type of thing. It was just wishful thinking, but it was like, man, people really like these. And so when we opened the food truck in Southside, they were on the menu, and then now it's like all over the place. It's crazy.
Well, and now that like I think you can now go other places and they have it. Like,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like you were kind of the trendsetter behind that of like, here's this thing. We'll basically, I guess because it's also a catchy title and it
Yeah, yeah.
catches your attention, like bacon burn ends.
Yeah.
Like those are two things I really like
Yeah, yeah.
smashed together. But now you go other places and they're doing that as well. But to me, the bacon burn ends gets you in the door.
Yeah, yeah.
What keeps me coming back is the brisket, which I
Yeah.
think is,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, isn't that ultimately how barbecue joints in Texas at least are measured?
In Texas, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, yeah. You gotta have good brisket.
Yeah, you gotta like the fatty brisket is what I come for. So you mentioned that barbecue's become more glamorous, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now I think a lot of that is the fault of Daniel Vaughn
Yeah.
at Texas Monthly. He helped, right?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
certainly helped to kind of make this more of what's the word, like an industry almost. You know what I mean? It seemed like it used to be just a bunch of guys who were just like, oh, you know what? I've got a smoker and I'm going to make this. And it used to be a lot of backwoods,
Yeah.
not backwoods, but backyard type stuff that we're going to bring to a restaurant.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it seems like maybe it's Instagram or maybe it's social
That
media.
probably helps, yeah.
But
Instagram.
have you, in your time, noticed a shift in barbecue culture in Texas?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even and Daniel's great, and all the publicity and everything
Mhm.
they've brought has been huge. But their like last top 50, I think, was called the Golden Age of Barbecue or something
Mhm.
like that. So it's really interesting because for forever it's been such a, like you said, kind of an old school thing and all that. And then really, in my mind, it started with Aaron Franklin and coming
Mhm.
into Austin and being a nerdy guy with glasses who listens to punk rock, and he's like, no, I cook just as good as the Lockhart guys and all that. And then now it's just snowballed to like, if you have a smoker and an Instagram, you're a barbecue place. It's like you're doing pop-ups or you're doing something.
Heck, that might be our quote of the day right
do you,
there.
do you think barbecue, is it on balance? Is it better now? Do you think that we're getting better at barbecue, or do you think that like you've still like, do we just have more average barbecue out there?
No, I would say hands down it's gotten like considerably better.
Mhm.
Because too, even like our thing's farm to smoker,
Mhm.
and so it's like we're very particular about the meats we source. So it's, all of our beef is like certified Angus beef, prime, like the best you can get. Niman Ranch pork, which is pasture raised and all this. So too, you have for forever, barbecue was always, the cheapest cuts you could get. You smoke them low and slow, and then you sell it super cheap. And so you have a lot of guys too that are coming up now that are doing like us and buying really, really good stuff, putting a lot of, sort of a chef mindset to it and doing kind of creative stuff. And in general, it's, you talk about a place in Texas that doesn't serve prime brisket, that's kind of like an anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you talk to Daniel, he would say that's been probably within the last couple of years. Because, before that, it would be like, you're a moron if you do that. You're not going to make any money, It's like, it's crazy. So I think in general it's kind of raised. And even in Fort Worth is like a boom where you have a new place opening almost every day, that's like really good stuff. So it's crazy.
Now you're a Fort Worth guy. We mentioned, you went to school at UT Tyler. You went to Fort Worth Calvary. That's, you met your wife while you were in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Is it you're moving to Dallas, obviously. You're opening a location there.
Yeah.
But was it, whenever you decided we're going to open this, obviously not knowing where it was going, but it was important for you to be in Fort Worth? Like that whenever you started your brick and mortar thing, it was important that it was in Fort Worth?
Yeah, absolutely. February 21st was our 5th year anniversary from when we opened the food truck.
That's awesome.
And so we did the pop-ups, a couple years before that.
Did that include the barbecue out of the Honda Civic? Is that the official date on that?
That was like, January 2015, I guess. Yeah, that didn't last very long, but yeah.
The Civic age.
I have a friend Ross who went to Baylor, so I do have friends that go to Baylor. And,
At Sean.
he was like wanted to order some ribs for this one day when we did it out of the Honda Civic, and some guy came up and I gave him a rib to try, and he was like, okay, I'll take 8. And I was like, you want 8 ribs? And he's like, no, I'll take 8 racks. And so it was like literally what I cooked. So I was just like, here you go. And then my buddy Ross shows up, an hour later, like, what the hell, man? He's still mad about it to this day.
I was going to say, you're screwing over your Baylor friend.
No, I know. He's all right.
So
But,
if you weren't doing...
To answer the question,
I'm sorry.
yes, it was incredibly important to me because I'm from there and it means a lot. And we love Fort Worth, and so it's huge. And we live like a minute away from the new store, and that's 2 minutes away from where I grew up. So it's just I'm a homebody.
Is your family still in Fort Worth too?
Yeah, my mother lives like a block away from us and works with us. And then my father lives in Marshall now.
Okay.
Actually moved back to Marshall. So.
Man, it's Travis Heim of Heim BBQ. Follow him on Twitter at Heim Heim BBQ.
Tell my wife that you like our Twitter.
Yes, everyone, go follow them and say just tweet at Heim BBQ. Hi Emma.
Yeah. She gets the notifications on the phone, and then it'll start popping up, and she's like, "What did you do?"
Well,
I'm good, I promise. I didn't make any jokes.
Yeah, yeah. So what's your degree in?
History, which is incredibly useful.
So I guess that leads to the question of, if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
I have no idea. In my senior whatever research paper, I wrote on integration of college football. So I've always been like a diehard, football guy. But yeah, I have no idea. We were joking about that last night, actually, my wife and I. It's like I'd probably be like working at a bowling alley or something. I don't know.
I think I've bowled in Fort Worth, actually. Now I think about it. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about like the barbecue pitmasters and you guys. I just kind of picture you all being on the same text thread and talking about things. Am I way off on this? Is this like a... Because on one hand,
because that's how broadcasters work, so we can't imagine anything other than that.
We all, like, obviously you're all trying to do the best you can, and theoretically you're competing with everybody, I guess. But at the same time, is it more of like a fraternity? Is it like, how would you kind of describe the relationship among like the top pitmasters here in the state?
I think it depends who you ask, probably.
The barbecue frat.
Yeah. Because, there's guys that, like in the top 50 that are really good friends of ours, that we talk to a lot, and it's fun when you do events. You know, like Texas Monthly, they do Barbecue Fest every year, and then Red Dirt's a big deal in East Texas. There's a ton of stuff like that where you get to hang out and chat and all that. And I mean, I have a ton of friends that have been giving us advice and stuff, for free, unsolicited, whatever questions I've had. And a lot of them are, like the Fox brothers are Fort Worth guys that live in Atlanta, went to Arlington Heights, good friends of ours. And, so, it's cool. I think it's a loaded question because, like, when we opened our food truck, we had a local guy, like, calling the health department to file bogus complaints about us. And then there's actually another guy that I was talking to the other day that's having a similar problem in Fort Worth that I kind of told him, don't worry about it. You'll get through it, whatever. So there's a little bit of everything. There's camaraderie, especially with the younger guys, like the pop-up guys. I see them all helping each other out and stuff. And that's awesome because when we opened our food truck, it was me and Emma, and a lot of people were upset. And we weren't even anything then. It was like, what are we going to affect this place that's been open for 80 years? Who cares? But now I think with Instagram and Facebook and all this stuff, it's a lot more congenial or whatever.
Well, and the other thing is, it seems to me that, like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? It's like, if people are talking about barbecue, that makes other people want to go out and try barbecue and eat barbecue, right? And ultimately, that's going to be a positive for everybody as long as you've got good barbecue. And if you don't have it, then,
well, maybe that's your own fault.
Maybe you're getting weeded out, That's, I don't know, it's like whenever I see, you guys or Aaron Franklin or any of these guys, in the top 50 who are tweeting about barbecue or anything like that, or Instagram, that just makes me want to go try barbecue. And that doesn't necessarily mean, love you, that I'm going to drive over to Fort Worth at the moment and go eat there. I might find something more local and be like, oh, you know what? This is something that's got good reviews. I'm going to go try that. It seems like ultimately it would be positive for everybody.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's like what we're talking about. There's a million places that have opened, Fort Worth, Dallas, Austin the last couple of years. So it is, I think eventually it's going to be like every person that wants to eat barbecue just opens up their own place. There's nobody eating at everyone else's restaurant. You're just,
Well, it's like I have a smoker, right? But I'm, like, super amateur. In fact, speaking of Aaron Franklin, he did a series a couple of years ago for, like, the PBS station down there. It's like Barbecue with Franklin. It's really good. Awesome. If you're a barbecue beginner like me and you're just trying to do it in your backyard, like, it's a good place to start. He explains it to you in very easy to understand ways.
YouTube, I think it's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, and that's how I kind of started doing just fooling around my backyard. But for you, is there a particular moment or day or time where you felt like, oh wow, this is not just like another, like, this is bigger than just a mom and pop shop. It, like, we've broken through. Is there like a specific time you remember?
Man, you're asking the hard-hitting
I am
questions.
a capital J journalist,
No,
Travis.
don't let him fool you. No.
We were at the food truck February 2015, and then we opened the Magnolia store August 2016. And so it was like construction delays and all this stuff, and it was still just chaos. And I remember some friends of ours who were longtime customers. They got up there at 2 in the morning, I think, just because they wanted to be the first in line, to come in. And so it was crazy, and we didn't get any sleep. And, I was up there like an hour later at 3, and we opened the doors. There's a line down the block, like, down Magnolia. And they came in, and there were some really good customers behind them that have been supporting us. And they all just started crying, and then Emma started crying. And it was just this moment of, like, I don't know if this is going to work out. I still don't know that. But it was such a cool thing of this is the reason we did this, is people, it's like, sure, the food's good. Hopefully it's good. But it's also, like, this is just a place that's a fun place to hang out. They want to support us. They want to support, our staff and everything. So that meant a lot. That was probably the turning point of, this is this is gonna be all right.
Because in the end, and I think one of the reasons that we find ourselves even on this show that is ostensibly about football, talking about food a lot, is that food is such a communal experience. Like it's something we all do. It's something we've all had great meals. We've all had terrible meals, right? Like it's something we can all relate to.
Yeah.
And it seems like, and especially like barbecue, and I think maybe it's because there's more of an understanding that it's not just slapping a burger patty onto, although you guys make great burger.
Thank you.
It's not just slapping a burger patty on a griddle or a grill and letting it go.
Yeah.
Like it takes time.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's like it's more of a connection. Do you know what I mean?
I think there's something to that. There's a great book called Barbecue Crossroads, maybe, by Rob Walsh. Look up Rob Walsh. He's a great food historian out of Houston. But he talks a lot in that about, barbecue is such a community thing. Like, people weren't just cooking briskets in their backyards in the 40s and 50s. It was like huge, political rally or something, or some sort of, after the harvest of, whatever, they would have a big community barbecue. And so it's from that spirit, to the meat markets and everything else. And then now, like, kind of how it is today, where it's like, I don't see a lot of people standing in line 4 hours for Italian food. What I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
That's a very unique thing to barbecue where, people wait in line and they just want to talk to people they've never met before, and it's kind of whatever. And then, like, if you go to our restaurants, we have long community tables, and it's on purpose because we want people to all kind of have to sit next to each other and you talk about it, and hopefully you get a big platter and everybody kind of picks off of it. And, there's something to that. It's a spirit of barbecue.
I guess that's true. Like, I guess if you think about it, like, an individual barbecue meal is kind of a misnomer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, no, like you make a whole brisket and then we all just eat off the brisket.
Well,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I completely agree. I mean, I grew up in Llano, Texas,
Yeah.
where the original Cooper's is.
Yeah.
And so that was the thing, is like some of my best memories as a kid is, we went out, got a huge platter, and
Yeah.
you just pick and choose and you talk and you have fun. And it's good memories.
Yeah,
It provides those.
Do you eat a lot of barbecue?
Not a ton. People always ask that because they're like, "Where do you eat barbecue?" And it's like, every day almost. It's like, this mac and cheese looks a little runny. Like, I need to test it. You know what I mean? Sometimes I just test it. Anyway.
Yeah.
But then, this brisket, the ribs, maybe they look. So it's like almost every day you're testing and just kind of making sure our stuff's, good. But the other day we went on a vacation for a week, which was awesome. And as soon as we got home, Emma, my wife, was like, "We got to get a Heim burger." So it was like that. And I'm talking about, this is like 8 o'clock in the morning, She's like, "I got to get a burger." And so I was like,
She just
"All
got
right."
that itch.
And she never is like, like that. So it was funny. We went up to Magnolia and sat at the bar, and, it was cool.
Is that weird for you to, like, because obviously you're not now personally cooking every single brisket,
Yeah.
right? Like, you're still overseeing things and things like that, but you're not a lot more, but you're definitely more of a CEO figure as far as our chief food officer.
Yeah.
Is it weird for you to step back from the smoker?
It was very, and you're absolutely right, it was very difficult at first because, there was times even, at the food truck, it was just us. So you're talking about, there's days I would sleep in the bar. We upgraded to a Honda minivan that had like 300,000 miles
Let's
on
go.
it. So the Odyssey, but with the door, not the sliding doors, the regular doors, It was pretty cool. And I'd take that to Benny Keith to get our meat order, and it would just like almost sit on the wheels, the weight of everything. So I'd like sleep in there. It was just a nightmare. And then even Magnolia, when we opened, it was like, there was times where like people calling sick, and it's like me, Emma, and my mom in the kitchen just trying to, whatever. And so, success, I think part of success is delegation and finding people that you're like, I can trust this person to do this job. And that was very difficult coming from both of us, two people that are kind of, type A, hands-on, whatever. But now, the guys at Magnolia, they've been there. We have a girl in the smokehouse that's doing an awesome job that's relatively new. But, our guys over there have been there since we opened. And then whenever we opened the river, we had a couple guys go over to the river. So it's like, you need those guys that are just, I'm here to cook barbecue. This is my job, and I care about it. That you can trust to do that, because without them, we wouldn't be where we're at. You know what I mean?
So how many briskets are you guys doing today now?
Across the board, we'll do, let's say we'll do 80 at both or something like that. So, and that's on a busy day, maybe a Saturday.
Yeah.
So we did an event in Houston. We use Lone Star Meats, distributes most of our meats, our briskets and stuff. And in December we did this event, and our meat guy Ed, who owns the company, was like, I just did this for fun, but I thought you'd think this was cool, and he made a note. We have officially bought 1 million pounds of meat from Lone Star.
Wow.
Jeez.
And about 600, a little under 600,000 pounds of that is brisket, and then the rest is probably pork belly and ribs and everything else.
Wow.
So it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's about to double probably with Dallas.
This is going to be a bit of a weird question. Are you a good cook?
I like to think so.
Do you do the cooking at home?
I do. My wife cooks a lot too.
Okay.
I think, and this is like and this drives everyone crazy at our restaurant, but like, if we put something on the menu, like the burgers, that we put on the menu, I tested those for like 6 months. It's like, just like, what if we did this bun? What if we did it with this meat, and this kind of changed all these different fat ratios and cheese? But like, I don't like this American cheese. I like this American. You know what I mean? So, anytime I do anything like that, I'm very just, I don't know, anal about it. It's got to be perfect if it's going to go on the menu, and so it takes a while.
But then, like, when you're at home, and it's like when you go home tonight, and you're just making dinner, like, are you good at it, or are are you like, do you have a natural ability to cook food? Is my question.
I think.
Or is it just barbecue?
if it's anything having to do with the grill, I'm good at. Yeah.
Okay.
The other stuff in the kitchen, I'm all right. And my mom's cooked. My mom's an incredible cook, and so I've cooked with her since I was, whatever, a child. So I feel like I have a little bit of natural ability, but two people all the times are like, we'll do stuff, and it's like, Chef Trev, and I'm like, I'm not a chef.
I'm not a chef.
Like, no.
Yeah, it's, you gotta earn that, I think, and I can throw some stuff together, but
Okay, so you are a barbecue pitmaster. Give our viewers one piece of advice. What is something you see people screw up on all the time when they're just, I'm going out there and I'm firing up my smoker or whatever. What's something that, as a barbecue pitmaster, a piece of advice you can give us?
Great question. He's just on fire.
Don't boost
today.
it. No, don't boost his ego. We can't have
I
that.
think like we've been doing these barbecue classes lately, which have been really, really cool. And the number one thing, well, I guess there's two things. One is like you don't plan properly. So like if you're cooking at your house and you're gonna have a party Saturday at noon, you kind of have to figure out a timeline for when the brisket's gonna come off, when you need to rest it, all that stuff. So that's one that usually, you'll have a party and you have people waiting 3 hours because it's like, or you have to pull it off. But the biggest thing, especially with home cooks that I've seen, is just like fire management. And that's the key to like everything we do. And so basically, all that means is whatever type of smoker you have, that you're maintaining consistent temperature, but also like your fire is consistent, your smoke level is consistent. A lot of times if you don't have a Traeger, if you don't have something like that, you're just throwing a log in and then walking out every 45 minutes. You got to have a little more hands-on, especially in those offset cookers. And so that's the biggest thing that I've seen. And I tell guys, like, just start out with like a pork butt, something cheap, use salt and pepper, and then just kind of get used to using your smoker and using, if I do this, then it's going to kick up 10 degrees. If I do this, that. And then you can add all the other elements.
That's exactly with the Aaron Franklin thing that I did was the pork butt. He's got a great video on how to do a pork butt.
Yeah.
And the good thing about a pork butt is it's kind of hard to really screw up.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like the training wheels. of
Yeah,
barbecue.
it really is. Yeah. And so if you follow his, like, it turned out great. And I was
Yeah.
like, how did I do this? Like, I'm a barbecue dum-dum. But if you, like, that's so right. Is like, I had to get to know, that was the first thing I did on my smoker. I was like, I don't know how this works. Let's get a piece of meat and try it and see how it goes. And it turned out great. And now that kind of give me the confidence, at least, to go for. All right, I know we've got some questions in the comments
Yes.
for Travis Heim of Heim
Well, I
BBQ.
have one personally, and
Oh,
then
okay.
and then we can get to the other comments.
okay.
But when I was reading through the Your Story tab on the website,
Yeah.
I saw something about a converted trash can smoker when you were in college. What is the beautiful story behind that one?
So that was actually my granddad's, I guess, that we had worked on, and it's awesome for cooking ribs. And basically, you just take a galvanized trash can. This isn't like rocket science. Cut a hole in the bottom, and then basically had like a heating element, like a hot plate, and then put like a wire mesh on that, right? So
okay.
you're with me. And then you could set just a tray, like an aluminum foil tray of wood chips in that, and then kind of drilled some nails in it, put a rack. So we had 2 racks in it, but it was just literally a trash can with like a hole in the top, and stick a thermometer through it. And then you could control the heating element,
Yeah.
so you could turn it up and down. But yeah, it was just, redneck engineering. but too, it was great because if you put a water pan in there, the humidity level would be really nice, so it would cook ribs really well.
That is awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw
We've
that and I
upgraded
was like,
since then, yeah.
I got to get an answer on that
Yeah.
one. The other thing real fast is I'm really nervous that we might lose Step as an employee because the number of good comments that he has left about Heim, about Emma's beans,
Yeah.
about the first time you met y'all and y'all talked Texas high school football. Like, I'm scared that Step, as soon as Travis leaves, might go knocking on the door and saying, hey, what do I have to do to be a pitmaster?
He's hired.
Cut his mic. Cut his mic.
He's hired.
Cut his mic.
Tomorrow.
All right. Well,
So concerned about that, but okay. Let's see. One of the questions was obviously y'all are opening up one in Dallas. Have you ever thought in the long-term future, is there expansion plans maybe in the other part of the state?
Yeah, that's a question. Somebody asked us that the other day. It's so weird. Like Dallas wasn't even, technically on the radar. It was just kind of we had been talking, and there's, every day somebody sends me a thing of like, you need to open in, Itasca or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's not really how it works. But this Dallas deal, these guys that own it are super nice, and it's a really good location. And then we were actually able to work out a deal that kind of benefits both. So that's very rare in our industry.
Yeah.
It's always like there's a million places that you want to open, but yeah, to answer your question, I think we're open to anything. Probably Waco's the only place I want to open one.
oh, see, we got the frog coming out here.
And then we
No,
got
just nobody will show up. I'd open if there were people.
there.
Yeah, you've
There's money to be made.
you have not
right?
necessarily won friends and influenced people in Waco, Texas. I'll tell you that
Oh,
much.
well.
We
What's up?
got 2 more basic, just regular barbecue questions that they want to know. First off, sauce or no sauce?
So again, this is gonna make a lot of people mad. I don't care about this stuff. Like, I can't reiterate how much I don't care. There's so many like myths about barbecue, and like if you're looking, you ain't cooking. Just all this like whatever.
There was a
unwritten
comment
rules.
that said that.
Yeah, and that's great, and a lot of people do that. But to me, I think that goes back into the kind of old school mindset. Like, if you like sauce, put sauce on it. Who cares? If it's good, it's good. Some people like our sauce. We always serve it on the side, but there's a gallon jug of it that you could dump on it, and I'm not going to care,
It's not going to offend you.
Yeah, you paid for it either way, so what do I it's like, yeah. I personally like one of my favorite places, Louis Miller and Taylor. They do a sauce, and it's basically just like vinegar and beef fat, and it's awesome with their ribs or with their sausage too. So sauce it up, What do I care?
Nice.
Yeah.
Respect
I don't
that.
know if that's a good answer.
No, it's a good answer. I love it.
And then your personal preference here, do you prefer sweet pork ribs or spicy pork ribs?
Ooh, great question. We do a sweet version, and I think that's kind of regional, too. Like, almost all of the South Texas guys, it's like salt and pepper, and then they'll do some sort of vinegar kind of glaze or something. But the ribs I grew up eating were like baby backs in Marshall, Texas. And then even in Tyler, Stanley's, famous. Yeah, I love Stanley's. I love those guys. So we go there all the time, and they do like a sweet baby back rib too there. So our ribs, if you come in, some people are like, oh, it just tastes like brown sugar. And it's like, well, whatever. That's how we like it.
I have woken up many a night dreaming of the brother-in-law sandwich out
Oh
there.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's another. So like in college, I led a Bible study, which was like a terrible idea, but they asked me to do that. And I would host it at Stanley's every Friday, basically just so I could get like a free lunch out of it. And we'd get like those jumbo, they do the jumbo sandwiches.
Yeah.
And they were like $10, and so that's actually our sandwiches. They're half pound of meat, kind of a homage to Stanley's, because you could go in there as a broke college kid and get a sandwich and be good.
Yeah, be good for the rest of the day, basically.
Yeah. Rest of the week.
Yeah. So, all right, I can't let you get away without talking a little TCU football.
Okay.
You are a TCU fan.
I am. Yeah.
There are you may have noticed on Twitter that he is a TCU fan.
Yeah.
Maybe. How are we feeling about the Frogs this year? A tough year in 2019.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about the Frogs in 2020?
I'm an eternal optimist, Greg. So we're going to the championship, man. It's going to be awesome.
Mark it. You heard it here first.
Yeah. If you've ever, stared Gary Patterson in the eye, it's like I'd run through that glass wall for him right now. It's just he's an awesome coach and good person. Him and his wife do a ton of charity stuff in Fort Worth that we support. But from the football side of things, we have a really good bunch of young guys coming back, which always makes you nervous. But some really, really talented players. And so, last year there was 3 or 4 games that were maybe an inch or two away from being a different outcome. So I'm hopeful for the season. I'm excited.
And you mentioned to me that you got every once in a while, TCU official visits will come in and be like, let's get a taste of Fort Worth.
Yeah, that was a weird, just kind of cool thing as someone who grew up as a diehard TCU fan. It was like a random call one day where they wanted to bring in a recruit, and this was probably 2 or 3 years ago maybe, and I guess they ended up signing that recruit. So then Patterson then would be like, we're coming in, we're sitting at the same table, we're eating the same meal, the whole deal. And so that's cool. You meet the families and stuff too a lot of times. And then that they were having success, I guess, with that. So then Coach Dixon brought in some basketball recruits, and then they signed a couple big-time basketball guys. So it's cool. That's fun,
Well, dude, I appreciate you stopping by, man.
Thanks for having me.
This was this was a lot of fun. You never have to convince me to talk a little barbecue. So
Now we're hungry.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. So
I got a lot of money on Taps Division 4 this year. I'm mainly here for inside info.
Yeah, okay. We'll talk offline about when I'm feeling about Taps Division 4 this year. He's Travis Heim of Heim BBQ. Go visit him in Fort Worth at 2 locations, and soon to be opening in Dallas for their 3rd location, and then wherever the Meat Force 1 is.
Yeah,
which
all
could be
over the place.
Could be anywhere. And follow him on Twitter at Heim BBQ. He will probably make you mad at some point with his tweets.
For sure.
And so does Emma have veto power over tweets?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, too, I pissed off all of Canada with the Rangers stuff.
Yes, you did.
And then now I've it's one of those where I'll look at it and then I'm like, and then if I do that, then no, delete it. So
Yeah.
I'm a lot more tame now. Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Okay.
I said one time if Baylor's playing North Korea, I'd root for North Korea.
And
that made a lot of people
Yeah,
mad.
don't say that. That's come on, man.
Yeah.
We gotta. I'm glad you've mellowed since then.
Yeah. I'm a lot more relaxed.
Yeah, exactly.
And Baylor's also kicking our butt every year.
Yeah,
so
that too.
Say that, you
Yeah,
turn it down a little on that one.
That definitely doesn't help.
doesn't help.
Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, we gotta do one last thing, okay?
I'm ready.
So this is Vince Young's 2001 Player of the Year trophy,
Awesome.
and we've ended every show by asking him to come get it.
Okay.
So I'll point to you and you do that thing.
Yeah, I got his number. I'll call
Okay,
him.
great, fantastic. That's going to do it for us. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. For Ashley Pickle and Travis Heim, I'm Greg Tepper. Tell him.
Vince, come get it, man. Right here. It's a beautiful trophy.
We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.